All right. Well, the Red Sox played tonight. Let me go look at the stat line and see. Eovaldi, he was pitching. Let me see how he did. All right. First inning, 5 pitches. Pretty good. All right. Let's check the second inning. 9 runs, 5 homers. Did we have Matt Barnes disguised as Eovaldi in the second inning? What are we doing? 9 runs, homer, all on homer, all on homers, all of them. What are we doing? Was Plawecki pitching and Eovaldi caught that inning? What? How do you give up 9 runs and 5 homers in an inning? 5 homers have only been done 3 other times. Well, 2 other times. It's only the 3rd time it's happened in MLB history. That's supposed to be our ace, not some guy we called up from single A yesterday because the whole team's injured. What are we doing? 9 runs. Okay, Franchi could have made an error. Okay, guess what? He still gave up 5 homers. He gave up 15 all of last year, and this year he's already given up 14. He's on pace to give up about 200. What are we doing? Jeez. We just won 4 out of 6. Everything was looking good, and boom. There goes. See ya. Bye goes 4 out of 6. Bye goes 3 out of 4. Oh, he just got absolutely demolished by the Astros. Yeah, talk about a game. I guess that's how it happens, but whatever. Well, if you can't tell, the Red Sox gave 9 runs in the second inning. This is Red Sox Recap on Bleacher Brawls. I'm Derek. I'm here to try and break this thing down, try and pull some positives from it, but the Astros hit 6 homers tonight, 13 runs. All of them came off of home runs. The home runs came from Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, Jeremy Pena, Michael Brantley, Yuli Gurriel, and then Kyle Tucker again in the 4th inning with a grand slam. Yeah, not a good outing from the Red Sox. Not a good outing from Eovaldi, and it was horrific. It was not good. The first inning was good for Eovaldi, 5 pitches. Devers comes up, hits a homer, and then there's a 9 spot on the board, and that was the game. After the second inning, you could just tell, the game's over. Oh my gosh, it was bad. It was really bad, and it sucks too because you look at the Red Sox lineup. Devers had 3 hits. Martinez had 3 hits. Verdugo had 2 hits, and a ball that would have been a homer in some parks. It was a 377-foot flyout. And then Trevor Story also had 2 hits. So the Red Sox lineup, they weren't terrible. I mean, they had 13 hits. They just didn't really drive anyone in as they went 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position. And I think that's been a big thing this year, runners in scoring position. For the Red Sox, the Astros went 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Also, too, whenever they got runners in scoring position, they just hit a homer. Or even they hit their homers without anyone on base, too. It was ridiculous how it, depending on, the day, the Red Sox, maybe the Red Sox do a little bit better in coming back and putting some hits together, but I don't think they're going to score another, 13 runs to win 14-13 after that first run, because after it went 9-1 and actually went to score 13, you would need 13 more to win 14-13. They did get 4 in total. They got 3 more after that first inning, but it's not going to be enough when your starting pitcher gives up 9 runs in 1 inning. I mean, obviously only 6 of them were earned from Eovaldi, but he didn't strike anyone out today. He didn't walk anyone, but does that really mean anything when you gave up that many runs? 5 homers he gave up too. So yeah, not good. The Red Sox pitching staff only walked 1 person today, which is nice to see. The lineup only walked 3 times again today. That's not what we need. Game was a total crapshoot. Just put it like that. It was a total, complete crapshoot. Nothing else to say about it. It was just horrendous, awful, disgusting, terrible. Any of the other synonyms you want to throw in there, throw them in there. It was just awful. It was it was bad. You might as well have turned the TV off after the second inning because they weren't coming back from it. And they didn't. They will have a chance to win the series next game, but it's hard to focus on the positives when this negative of tonight's game was so big. They still have won 4 of their last 7, but which puts you on a 92 in pace, but they're already behind and they need to win more than just 4 out of every 7 because They're still not going to make the playoffs if they do that. And they need to start winning 5 out of 8, 4 out of 6. They were just winning 4 out of 6. So who knows? Maybe they'll win 4 of their next 6 again, and they'll just have that one game in the middle that they lost. Who knows? But we got to remember, the Astros are a good team. They just went on an 11-game hitting streak. A winning streak. So it's not like they're a bad team at all. They're a very good team. So if we can still win this series, that'd be great. But also, too, this is the first time the Red Sox have really been blown out this year. Obviously, they had that game against Texas the last game of the series, but that was more due to one bad inning. Obviously, this was kind of one bad inning, but this was one bad inning, like 9-run bad inning. That bad inning against Texas was only 4 runs. That 9's more than double 4. But they haven't really been blown out this year. You look at all their scores. Yeah, they lost 8-0 to the Angels. That I'd say that maybe is a blowout, maybe. But the Angels also scored 5 in an inning there, so that was kind of one inning, kind of killing you. They lost 10-5 to the Angels. I wouldn't call that a blowout. They haven't really been blown out this year. That their biggest loss was that 8-0 loss to the Angels. And I still wouldn't call it a blowout because it's mainly one inning, that 5-run inning that did it to you in the 8th inning. And you lost, and in this game you just got clobbered. You lost 13-4, 9 runs in one inning, 4 runs in another inning. Even if the Astros don't score any in the second, they still score 4, and you're still tied. So it was just a bad game all around, with the exception of a couple players. Obviously, those couple players being Devers, Martinez. Even Verdugo and Story. Story got on base 3 times, had 2 hits and a walk. Verdugo had 2 hits and one that could have been a homer had it been hit 3 feet further. Martinez continues his hit streak, 18-game hitting streak now, and he has like a 30-something game on base streak. It'll be on the screen, so don't worry about it. It's 30-something, I know that. And Devers had 3 hits as well tonight. So big game from those guys, but the rest of the line didn't really do much. You had a hit from Kike, nothing from Bogarts. One hit from Franchi, 1 for Pilecki, nothing from Bradley. Bradley's not there for his offense, so he doesn't get a hit. It's not the end of the world, but they got to start scoring more. And like I thought we were starting to see a turnaround. We had won 3 of our last 4 and 4 out of our last 6 after game 1 of this series. So it's like, okay, maybe we're turning around. Who knows? Maybe we'll win tomorrow and it'll be like, all right, well, we've won 5 of our last 8. That's not bad. You can live with it, especially when you're playing Houston and Atlanta, which Atlanta hasn't been great this year, but they just won a World Series, and Houston's Houston. We all know how good they are. And the Red Sox will get Seattle after this, Seattle's been struggling a little bit this year too, so who knows? Maybe they can start really turning it around in that Seattle series, but it's going to be rough for the Red Sox. They really have to get it going, and because they're already behind. They are, as of right now when recording, they're 14-22. So they're 13 games behind the Yankees at 27-9. They're not winning the division. Let's just straight shooting right here now. They're not winning the division. No, they are not winning the division. They wouldn't win any division in the big leagues. They're not good enough. Their record's not good enough to win any division in the big leagues. It doesn't matter what division. But can they make a wild card? Now, you look at the wild card. The Red Sox, as of right now, not good. They're 5.5 games out of a wild card spot. And there's about 5 teams in between them and the third wild card spot. But 5.5 games sounds a whole lot easier to come back from than 13 games or 13.5 games, whereas Baltimore is in the division. And the 5.5 games, yes, it's still a lot for this point in the season, but also because it's early, but also too, it's early. There's still time. And at the end of the day, you just want to make the playoffs minimum, because anything can happen in the playoffs. You saw it with the Braves last year. They won 88 games. They won the division in a weak division. And everyone's like, oh, they're the worst record in the playoffs. Yes, they've been hot, but they're still only won 88 games. And they go win a World Series. So record going into the playoffs isn't anything. Just make the playoffs, because anything can happen. Realistically, anything can happen. The Red Sox could be the 7th seed and win the World Series. You don't know, but you can't win the World Series if you don't make the playoffs. So that's the Red Sox are just gonna don't worry about winning the division because you got to make the playoffs first. And in this division, at least 2 teams in this division will be in the playoffs. I'd argue 3 teams. So if not, and maybe 4 if the Red Sox can even sneak into the playoffs. So it's you just got to worry about making the playoffs, making the postseason, try and make the postseason first before you even worry about the division because the Yankees are already 13 games ahead of you. If you can catch them, amazing. That's amazing. But you got to at least get into a wild card spot first before you worry about the division. And I know Red Sox fans might disagree with me on this at some point, but I'd rather just at this point, I don't even care about the division because that comes after being able to make the playoffs. Most teams, they clinch a playoff spot and then they clinch their division. There's rare instances where they clinch the playoffs by winning their division because they're not good enough to have a wild card spot like the Braves last year, but that's rare. Normally you clinch your playoff spot and then you win your division a week or so later or however long after. So that's the thing. Worry about making the playoffs first. Obviously we want to win, want to make the playoffs. If the Red Sox are bad, they are going to look at it sort of a sell situation this summer. And Nathan Eovaldi not pitching well doesn't help at all because that's a guy where if the Red Sox are struggling, that's a guy they're going to want to deal and you're going to want to get something back for him. You better hope he's pitching well because you want something back for him. Obviously, it's not going to decrease his value significantly, but it could be the difference between getting a good prospect or a good to very good prospect. It's that those slim differences between what you could get back in return do matter. And having Eovaldi at, having Eovaldi have as much value as possible is contingent on him pitching well. And so him pitching well does 2 things. One, it helps the Red Sox because they need him to pitch well, to play well. And if they aren't playing well, but he still pitches well, you can hopefully get a little bit more for him at the deadline. Whereas if he's pitching bad, you might struggle to get some. But, that's the thing. The Red Sox here, just make the playoffs. Don't worry about anything else. From a Houston point of things tonight, Houston was, boy, do they have they had the bats going. You look at their line: Altuve, Brantley, Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, Gurriel, Kyle Tucker, Jeremy Pena, Jose Siri, and Martin Maldonado. That was their starting lineup. Everyone had at least 1 hit, and half the lineup had 2 hits. And then Dubon came in for Altuve, and his one at bat, he also had a hit. The Astros had 10 guys who got hits tonight, and they had 5 guys who hit homers, which is more than half of your lineup. Like, if you should win games when that happens. Obviously, the Astros did win. If you're the Red Sox, you should lose games if you let that happen, which they did, no doubt. Obviously, they did, but it was a very good, strong game from the Astros. Jose Urquidy pitched well. I do think they left him in a little longer, considering that they had a massive lead. So 5 innings, 4 earned runs, gave up 12 hits. And then the Astros bullpen pretty much held us 4 innings from their bullpen. They only gave up 1 hit, 3 walks. So only 4 base runners. So, we didn't do much against their bullpen. Not like we were going to do much anyways. We're already down by 9 at that point by the time they went to their bullpen. So I don't think we were going to do that much anyways. Maybe it would have been nice to get a couple more, maybe start turning the tide towards tomorrow. Okay, we got a couple runs in this game. Get yourself a little bit of momentum. But, the Astros played well. Let's just say it how it is. The Astros played well. And I've been following the Astros somewhat close this year because, the Astros should be in the playoffs. And I think the big story for the Astros this year is Jeremy Pena. He's replaced Carlos Correa very well. Obviously, he's not Carlos Correa, but he's been very good, like very, very good. He's hitting after this game 282 with the 877 OPS. He's been very good. He's been one of their better hitters, and especially with him in the 7th spot. The depth of this Astros lineup is ridiculous. You have Altuve, Brantley, Bregman, Alvarez, Gurriel, Tucker, Pena. That's your top 7 hitters of your lineup. Yes, you have Martin Maldonado. He's your black hole of the lineup, but when the other 8 guys in the lineup can hit, especially that top 7, you put that. I think that whole top 7 for the Astros could fit inside in the Red Sox lineup easily. I'm not saying position-wise, but into the lineup. Like Altuve would be the Red Sox leadoff hitter. Michael Brantley could might even be the Red Sox leadoff hitter because he gets on base a lot normally, but he slide into the Red Sox lineup pretty well. Bregman, obviously the position isn't really there, but he could slide into the Red Sox lineup. Jordan Alvarez could easily slide into the Red Sox lineup. Gurriel, I'd take him at first base. Kyle Tucker, I would 100% take him. Jeremy Pena, I'd take him. Obviously, position's a little bit of issue with Pena and like Bregman, another issue, but hitting wise, they've all hit so well. When you look at the Red Sox lineup, you say, oh, Kike, Devers, Martinez, Bogarts, Verdugo, Story. That's your top six. Yes, on paper, it's a good top six, but Kike hasn't hit well this year. Verdugo hasn't necessarily hit well this year. He's been streaky. He was hot to start the year. He's been cold since, but he has been getting unlucky. I will say that. And Story struggled. He's starting to get into it a little bit, get into the groove of things a little bit, but it has been a slow start for him. And then the rest of the lineup. I love Franchi. He's done much better than Travis Shaw was and better than what Dahlbeck was doing, but it's still not enough considering your catcher spot. You're not getting much out of it. You have Jackie Bradley Jr. And I love Franchi, but it's unfortunately the truth. He's not giving you enough for what you need. Is that his fault? No, it's not his fault, but it just happens, you know. You're not always going to have the best lineup. Do Red Sox have the best lineup in the league? No. Could they have done more to fill out their lineup in the offseason? Yes. But also, too, you know, their lineup last season at the start, opening day lineup, I'd say it's worse than their lineup they have right now. So, yes, it would have helped if they would have made a move for maybe an outfielder or whether it's Schwarber, Suzuki, any of those guys. That they would have helped. But also, it's still early. Moves can be made. Hopefully, they can heat up a little bit, get it going, and try and get near 500. Because if not, it's going to be a long summer. If the Celtics don't win a championship this year, the only talk in Boston is going to be is the Red Sox suck and the Red Sox are going to hear it. And it's not going to be a good summer for Red Sox fans at all. It won't be a good summer for the Red Sox. And there will be people calling for Chaim Bloom's head. I won't be one of them. I won't call for his head, but there will be people calling for his head. And it's going to be a tough season because he might have to move Eovaldi, Bogarts, Kike, guys that Red Sox fans like, especially Bogarts. And Red Sox fans are going to think as soon as he trades Bogarts, he's going to trade Devers, which I don't think he will do. But that's always going to come up with Red Sox fans because they're very pessimistic. Red Sox fans are going pessimistic. But yeah, it's going to be a rough summer. They can't turn things around. That'll wrap it up. Thanks for watching this Red Sox recap after a horrendous loss to the Astros, 13-4. Not good. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to check out all our previous game recaps. Later today, we will have a prospect pipeline on Brain Bayo, who just got called up to AAA. He will be making his debut in AAA today, later tonight, starting for Worcester. So make sure to check that out when it goes up. It'll go up at 2 p.m. Eastern. On Monday, we post a video on the Angels. Are the Angels legit contenders? Make sure to watch that. Make sure we have a video on Friday on the AL Central. So check that out. And on Monday, we will have a video covering the New York Yankees. So yeah, make sure to check that one out as well. It'll be we have some fun videos coming up, so make sure, and we'll have future game recaps as well. So make sure to check all this out. Go look in the description. Check out the Bleacher Brawls website, the Bleacher Brawls Twitter, the whole crew's Twitter, all their Twitter accounts are all in the description. Make sure to like, subscribe, share this video. Get in the comments. We'll be active in the comments. And this has been Red Sox Recap on Bleacher Brawls. My name is Derek. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.